Many players have given me feedback on some issues. First of all, during serve-receive, a very common problem is missing the ball. Missing the ball happens especially to beginners when the opponent serves with heavy sidespin. Whether it's left sidespin or right sidespin, missing the ball often occurs. So what's the specific reason? First, let's serve a long ball with left sidespin. You can see that I contact the ball at the peak point. The first bounce is at this position. After the ball lands, it will shift laterally. This is left sidespin. Now let's look at right sidespin. You can see that after the first bounce, the ball shifts to the right. So first, we must clearly read the opponent's motion. If it's a left sidespin serve with this kind of motion, then after the bounce the ball will definitely move to the left. If it's a hook serve, or a backhand serve, or a reverse spin serve, then after the bounce the ball will curve to the right. So first of all, we must read the motion clearly. Now, let's start with left sidespin. Generally, after the ball lands, if it drifts to the left, you can slightly lean your center of gravity and adjust your footwork to the left to find the point and position. When the topspin ball speed is high, I suggest finding the ball's early point, which is the ascending phase. For backspin, we try to hit at the early descending phase, because during the peak of the bounce, it's easy to miss the ball. So for topspin, when the ball just bounces, before it curves too much, I hit it during the ascending phase directly, or wait until it has curved and becomes relatively stable, then perform the loop. For pushing, you can also wait until the early descending phase. Let's first look at long balls with topspin. Notice how my body weight shifts actively to find the hitting point. The contact point shouldn't be at the peak phase. Shift weight. You can hit slightly earlier. Never hit at the first bounce. You'll get jammed. Especially with backhand, it may lead to missed balls, so shift slightly to the left. It's the same for short balls. For long balls, the lateral shift is more significant. In this case, your movement and center of gravity must follow the ball. For left sidespin, it will always curve left. We just need to understand this pattern. For backspin, we can wait a little, hitting during the early descending phase. Wait for the ball to finish curving before you hit it. The same goes for pushing. Don't rush. As long as you keep the rhythm. Read the ball early and pre-shift your weight. Know which way the ball will curve, and consciously find the hitting point. Now let's talk about right sidespin. Many players also miss balls at the forehand short position because their foot placement isn't correct. They can't reach the ball, so for this ball, we know it will drift right after the bounce. Therefore, our right foot must be fully in position. For flicks, you can hit during the ascending or peak phase. For pushes, go a little slower. For topspin, hit slightly earlier. Hit before the ball drifts too much. Actually, whether it's left or right sidespin, as long as you keep the rhythm, adjust your center of gravity and foot placement in advance, and missing balls will be greatly reduced. Many players practice in a way that is too single and repetitive, and then when it comes to matches, when different rhythms occur, different placements, and different spin variations, our ability to deal with the ball becomes relatively weak. Everyone can practice specialized receive training. The first part is anticipation. In fact, many players know how to receive. For example, they can push well or loop well, but when it comes to reading the ball, they cannot judge it clearly. So in the first stage, if your judgment is not good, you must train your reading ability. Don't try to judge only during matches, or when you stand on the other side during training. Your concentration is not fully focused, and most of your attention is placed on yourself. You should observe from a spectator's perspective. For example, watching others play matches, or watching someone practice serves. This is when you can train your anticipation. At the moment the racket contacts the ball, you should think side top, side back. When you observe from the side, you will find it much clearer. All your attention is fully focused on the moment of contact. Players can also watch matches between two other players and judge based on how the receiver returns the ball to check whether your judgment was correct. Once you build the habit of reading spin, your receive quality will improve significantly. The second stage is practicing the same placement. With the same spin, we break it down step by step. For example, if your backhand long side backspin is weak, you can ask your partner to serve you 50 balls, or one basket to the backhand baseline. You can practice pushing or looping, either is fine. Second, practice your weakest point first. For example, if your forehand short side top is weaker, you can ask your partner to serve fixed forehand short side top. First, get familiar with the movement and the receive. Adjust your technique first. Adjust your footwork position, and adjust your force direction, etc. For this ball, I am currently practicing my flick ability. So the second stage is same placement, same spin. Then in the third stage, same placement, different spins. This is when you train your anticipation. You must instantly decide how to return the ball. Then we stand here. Taking the backhand baseline as an example, we can practice like this. Side back, side top, side top, side back. Forehand is the same. Once you master same placement with different spins, you can move into the fourth stage. Full table long balls with side top and side back combined, or full table short balls with side top and side back combined. I think for anticipation and for many of our stroke decisions, this kind of training is very effective, and the difficulty level also increases gradually. It increases gradually. If you start by receiving different spins over the whole table, you'll really feel overwhelmed. For example, we practice short balls over the whole table with sidespin topspin and sidespin backspin. When you make contact, say it out loud in your mind. Once you develop the habit of watching the ball, you won't need to do it consciously. After these training plans are well practiced, we can start full table training. You practice receiving serve while your partner practices serving. Pay close attention to precise foot placement and your success rate on the table. When your feet start moving, you'll notice your consistency improves. Don't play too casually during practice, but approach it with a match mindset. I suggest keeping score. For example, the loser buys the winner a coffee to increase focus and seriousness. Only then can you play calmly and confidently in matches. Another important point is that the techniques we practice daily must be used boldly in matches. If you've practiced it, you must test it in competition. Don't be afraid of losing. In practice you loop it, but in matches you switch back to pushing. You practice flicking short balls, but in matches you still push. Ideally, after practicing a technique, use it intentionally in matches for a period of time. Focus on improving your attacking ability and your anticipation skills. At first, it may not work very well, and you may make more mistakes because it's less stable than pushing. But after practicing for some time, you'll find your level improves very quickly. In matches, we can identify problems and then solve them in training.